Wars are here to uplift a nation that's fallen. Instead of buying strip clubs, continuing or falling. Most sisters I know got baby daddy drama, beating on the mother and he's the grand master. No patriarch or pimpin', you're the god of the earth. He calls it a man bag, I call it what it is, a purse. Making claims of strength but can't give birth. Walk into the room through the doors of the church or temple or tabernacle, they all represent her. The story of the first female popes is a blur, not to mention the different saviors moved from both thrones. His and her throne was her own. As my aunt holds the scales with no Tahuti. Though he was a sage scribe, he was her worker to see the big picture. Tahuti is thought, which represents thought. Divine manifest in mind, molds the thought. Get the mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Mind is man, but living first like we were taught in ancient schools, which were the wombs, even to the tomb, the afterlife womb. Born again on another realm, or back for more truth about our culture as Moors, more by youth. See how far they spread, how deep the roots true. Get off the emotions, fire water potions. Get the shape out of my sister, not Jergens lotions. I justify UBS, blaming racism. Biz Kane and G-Rap already erased racism. Go back to Diplo, Underground, Tupac, or X-Clan and feathers, leather that you call in a hat. Go back to medallion strings with beads. Golden era, back to question so-called MCs. Pistons, smooth operators, Asiatic kings. On a gold throne, four-finger tormenting rings. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Using verse curses, send out orishas, return like boomerangs, demons drop in with seizures, calling for sweet Jesus. Here comes Nagas Negas, black handle hex on those trying to police us. Reverse a spell with white candles, witches clothed as cashiers, behind bars, sexual energy exchange for beers, and she's getting tips with help from whispering spirits. 285 hertz beats, hypnotized sound, spell with lyrics. So freaked out their mind, can't hear but fear it. When the truth appears, they won't go near it. Songs are like Reiki, blockages they clear it. So focus on point and diligent, freedom above everything, mind's limited. Like wow, moment eureka when I speak to a sleeper. Make a master fruition and stop being believers. Get the mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat the mothers right. Get your mind out the gutter like you gotta treat our brothers right. Circle 7, y'all.
Yeah. You know, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Shake, Cujo Hill, Iron Sheik.
We are Moors. Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Crest might have a more head. We are Moors. 20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Racial West adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep? Got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheep. Sevens up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Crest might have a more head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be Bay taught the world don't respect you. However, since you want to be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man needs funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Humble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mark D. Condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the course of the headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you sound right. Trust me, Hebrews a language. Lupe put Moors in this video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabay, Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the couple planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more puzzle soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch drink champ steady. Cause Nori said you are on a track, so call me Betty. Also Marcy Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I say to do. Initiate invasions, activate at doors every scoop. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Crest might have a more head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We are Moors. We are Moors. Islam, Moors. Peace and love. I know it's been a while since you've seen this one. I know it's been a while since we did it this way. But here we are, back once again. Islam, Moor. So we're here. We're here. Once again, Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. We just want to put it on the record again because people like to talk crazy. Remember, the original Moors in America, the original Moors in America was a book by Tahida Naji Ula L and Brother Victor Taylor L. The original Moors in America, 2014. Before these people came out with their little page or whatever, talking about there are some Moors in America. They're fakers. There's a fake Ali on there. There's fake whatever on there, talking like they are somebody. People are nobody. The original Moors in America was a book. Go to Khalifa Media, go get the book. Stop supporting these bastards out here trying to tell you some BS. Like they have some knowledge of what it is to be Moors. They just came yesterday. Johnny come lately bays. And don't forget, the original Fez cap is get your tassel, put it on your own damn hat. You don't need no fake tassel on some baseball hat to say that's a Fez cap. The original Fez cap, they must have forgotten stuff. They must have forgot. Let me look over here. Because people like to play. People like to play. Love to play like they don't know what's up. I don't know why they like to play like they don't know what's up. We're telling you. Get your own tassel. You need to go spend no $19.95 and buy somebody's fake tassel on a hat called that a Fez cap. Get your own. Supposed to do for self, right? It's Mars, right? Yeah. Get your own stuff. Stop following these Johnny come latelys. Just came yesterday trying to tell you something. And then you're riding with it. Watch these dirties out here. Because all these dirties are part of some type of Moorish whatever that they be selling charters, selling warrants of authority, claiming that they got some type of authority all of a sudden when in 2008, 2009, 2010, they were supreme grand whoever's with gay porn magazines and stuff like that. Watch these Moors. People haven't been around. People haven't been around to know. I've been around to know. I'm telling you. All these Masonic whoever's that got their little temples and then they're trying to pretend like just go get Exhuming of a Nation. Elihu Pleasant Bay threw all of them under the bus in his book, Exhuming of a Nation. Threw all of them under a bus because all of them are fakers. All of them are Prince Hall people, came into the movement, infiltrated, and have you thinking that there's some type of authority in the Moorish movement when they're Prince Hall and all that. One of them lie to you about Moors are born on the square. You know, Moors born on no damn square. Only Moors born on the square is the ones who came out the womb knowing that they're Bay. If you came out the room, you're a nigger, and then all of a sudden you know about you're a Moor now, you weren't born on no damn square. You were born as a Negro, black, colored. And you graduated to your square. You even know what a goddamn square was. You thought a square was 4 lines, 90-degree angles. No, square is the way you stand. Square is a measuring instrument. You know, these people fool you out of your birthright. Just like these people fooling people out of their or fooling people into their birthright, talking crazy at some revolt summit, whatever. And like we said, we already know that these people know. It's not no secret that we're Moors. All these people know that we're Moors. But we're never going to go there yet. We're going to start from the beginning. Show you how much of a fraud this stuff is. That people are playing games with you. Moors been telling you, but you don't want to hear Moors. You want to listen to the rap guys? So listen to the rap guys. Let's see what they got to say. Islam, more, you got anything before we start up?
No, I just wait on the rap guys.
Islam, more.
Islam.
And again, oh yeah, can't forget to remind you, don't forget, the reason why we're doing this and you can't see anything right now is because American Indian Truths guys snitched on our last upload, asking us how's the mic and all that stuff, knowing that he snitched and our stuff is shut down. Keep in mind, Johnny-come-latelys are always going to sabotage your learning. Johnny-come-latelys are always going to try to prove a point that Canaanland, we're not going to say their name, but they know who they're talking about because they're watching us right now and all that BS. FOH to all those people. If you want to know about, actually, you know what? Let's just do it this way. Where'd the thing go? Let's do it this way. Before we even get started, let's just go to MST of 8 degrees, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. By Moorish American Heritage Series, Moors Order of the Round Table. Important precept, page 11. Achieving a proper concept of what the Moorish movement is all about takes study and more study. There's a lot of purging to do, and there are no shortcuts. Sincerity and dedication in this work is supremely necessary for the spiritual, economic, social, and political redemption of all Moorish Americans for the nation as a whole. The Romans, Europeans have been exploiting Aboriginal natural peoples at every turn and at every opportunity. They are well aware of the truth about our birthrights because they stole them and are living off your virtues. This conspired theft is the result of imposed forced servitude, miseducation, perfidy, and blustered by reconstructed history and geography, and cribbed in their papal purposes for world conquest, and dirty Moors who work with them. Keep you Negro, black, colored, and all that stuff. Be at all times cognizant of the truth about the colonization of the ancient Moorish dominion of Africa. Be at all times cognizant. Don't ever let your guard down with these people, because they have their agenda. They already got their little payout because they have certain sponsors and stuff like that who are the cracker. And they're trying to tell you, ride with them to be free. Achieving a proper concept of what the Moorish movement is all about takes study and more study. Never, ever forget that. Never get caught up in thinking some clown that just came on YouTube yesterday is going to liberate you. Don't ever get caught up in thinking that.
Yep.
Ever. You better get back to go by your dictionaries, all the etymology dictionary, law dictionary, unabridged dictionary. Go back to that stuff. Go back to buying books. Forget about watch stuff on YouTube. Unless they're giving you some references for you to go by. If they're not giving you references to go by, don't be listening to these people. They're talking for 11 hours on some, oh yeah, can't forget, since they're talking about 11 hours, don't forget the Danes of Europe were Moors. So anybody named Dane, that means they're a Moor. Don't forget that. Anybody named Dane comes from the Danes of Europe. And the Danes of Europe were Moors. Just go get, where is it at? Just go to your favorite, whatever store you want to go to. Go to your favorite stuff. Ancient and Modern Britons. David McRitchie. Go buy this. Right, there's my price tag that I paid $29.99. Go get Ancient and Modern Britons and go do your research on the Ancient and Modern Britons. Realize that they were you. There's some Europeans. But remember, keep in mind that the Danes, the people who were known as the Danes, are Moors. So anybody today calling themselves Dane, know that they're a Moor. Know that for a fact. For a fact. Oh yeah, just like the Moor said in the chat, just like the Picts and everybody else of Europe, just like the Tudor England and all that stuff.
Well, I don't care who it is. Yep.
I don't care who it is. Know that they're Moors. And the world knows this. This is not something that Moors say. This is what the world knows. So one, remember, first Moors in America was this book right here. Forget some YouTube guys called Moors in America. They're a fraud. They're fakers. Forget them. Two, if you want a fez cap, don't be going to these people and go on their site and go buy a fez cap and think because you're supporting Moors, and no, you're supporting dirty Moors. Because those people are down with the people who, in 2008, those guys used to have gay porn magazines. Remember, I told you. Remember.
They sell fezzes? This guy never has his fez on. Right?
But he got fez. He doesn't even wear the fez cap that he's selling to you. How come he never had a fez cap that he's selling to you? Never has a fez. Never has anything representative of Moors and all that stuff. Has the same Masonic chain or whatever like that, but they're not Masons or whatever. But they got the Masonic. They got the Masonic Circle 7 chain from Lauder. Oh yeah, we know. We go there and get stuff. We don't go there and get stuff because we're Masons. We go to the Moorish American section and go get our stuff or whatever. We go there because we're Masons.
Yeah.
We're going there because those people there are going to send my stuff with expediency. You go buy some stuff from some of these Moors out here, you got 50 hours of being on hold waiting for them to do whatever they're supposed to do to get you your stuff. I don't have time to waste. 3, American Indian Truth is a snitch, just like Dane is a snitch. Because when they buy their views, when they put finance into buying views, people like us who just do this out of sincerity or whatever, and we have our little 200 and 300 views, are more powerful than the 50 million views that they got, because they bought all theirs. So don't forget, American Indian Truths guy, he's a snitch, YouTube snitch. He snitched on us. This is why we're on Canaanland Moors 2 right now, and you're not going to be able to watch the Revolt stuff. You got to watch Cujo all night. And then 4, remember that the Danes of Europe are Moors. So anybody who called themselves Dane in 2019, if their name's Dane, Don't listen to them about their Aboriginal and Indigenous and all that BS that they're talking about. Know for a fact that they're Moors. Know without a shadow of a doubt that these people are Moors. Always remember that everybody knows. And don't you for 1 second think that people don't know that we're Moors. As soon as they start talking crazy, what's that? And I never knew that. Dismiss them. Don't even take them serious. So that's my rant. Let's do this. And again, Islam to all the Moors in the chat, Islam to all the Moors who've been supporting, and honors to you for staying true to the cause.
Yep.
Now remember, Islam, Moor. Go ahead, Moor.
Yeah. Just to add on too, with the all of the fraudulent stuff with the Dan Calloway, and like you said, these people know we're Moors. Because, like, if we really look at it, nobody was telling us that we were Aboriginal, Indigenous to these lands, but Moors. Todd was the one. Whatever video you saw was the Moor that was saying that first. That was the first person that was telling all that information. That the United States was a corporation, that the land is the Moors, that they got all that from Moors. Like, I can't believe they go around acting like we're not Moors when they themselves learned all that stuff from Moors. All that studying law, Black's Law dictionaries, etymology dictionaries, Moors take to get all of those weapons. And then they go around quoting stuff, saying stuff from the Constitution, but in the guise of we're Aboriginal, Indigenous. And then when Moors tell them this stuff, like, y'all got that stuff from Moors, they tell you, oh, you don't have to be a Moor to study law. And I'm like, see, that's colored what you just said, emotional. You just don't want to accept the fact that we're Moors and you got your information from Moors. And now that but you don't want to do that. You want to, I'm the guy, look at me. So you take what the Moors gave you under the guise of we're Indian, Aboriginal, Indigenous. I just had to throw that in there because that is really, because that's the part that really bugs me out. I'm like, how could y'all act like we're not Moors, but all your information that you stand on to prove that y'all got from Moors. Y'all got all that from Moors. All of that came from Moors to prove that we are the Aboriginal Indigenous people here to the land, but we're not Indian. We know that. For them to hold on to that and act like Moors didn't teach them that part. Like, no, but we're not Indian. Nah, they didn't go with that. They went with everything else, that we are the Aboriginal Indigenous people to the land. But when we said that we're not Indian, they didn't want to take that. Right. So because they want to be the guy. Look at me, which is fraud. And that's the thing that really, really bothers me. I'm like, y'all got all your information from Moors. You didn't get that from, like, oh, let me go see. Nope. Everybody saw that license fraud video from Todd Street Day.
Yep. Everybody.
That's how it all started.
Everybody saw that. Everybody saw that. And
that whole panel that we about to go on there right now, they all saw it too. Everybody saw it.
And then keep in mind,
Fontaine cussed everybody out. Everybody saw that.
Yep. And keep in mind,
that thing has almost 2 million views. You think these people don't know we Moors? They know we Moors. Everybody does.
And we'll just put this out there too. What's in a Name by Heru Ranisiel. What's in a Name? For all these people who don't like to give you reference points or whatever. Unconscious Moorish assassins for the European. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. They know what they're doing. Forgive them anyways. But don't think they don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Didn't we tell y'all conscious mental wrestling before? I know we told y'all conscious mental wrestling before. Who you heard that from first? Moors. What they doing right now? Conscious mental wrestling. Let's get ready to rumble and all that stuff. This is supposed to be about our disenfranchisement. This is supposed to be about our people getting murdered by highwaymen. These people starting up with some fake wrestling stuff. And then the dummies, they're cheering about let's get ready to rumble. They're clapping. And El Haj told them back in whatever, stop clapping. What are you clapping for? You think you got something to clap about? What you got to clap about? What the hell do our people have to clap about that these people are clapping? But remember, you know, forgive them, for they know not what they do, but they know what they're doing. So stop playing around and just keep in mind.
Y'all have heard 6 people representing the Black community say similar and very different things. And I think that's dope. I think it's dope because all Black people don't want the same thing. And I think the fact that we pretend like all Black people want the same thing makes us crazy and puts us in a position where we can't have the kind of conversations that we're about to have.
Man talking right now, his shirt's black, his pants black, the background behind him is black, and he doesn't match that. How's he saying he's black? Oh, forgive them, for they know not what they do. What are you talking about? They don't know what they're doing. You ask a child, are they black? They're going to say no. But you have these adults up here telling these people about Black people. Still, 2019. Everybody could see that we're brown people in the world. Everybody in the world could look at us and see that we're different shades of brown. Everybody could see that. It's not what Moore say. We're talking about in the world. You think people are taking these people seriously in the world? You really think they're taking people seriously? When they're talking crazy, and Moors have been telling these people, Nobujuali came and told these people in Nobujuali came and told these people in 1900s that you're not Negro, Black, or colored. How the hell did we still get caught up calling ourselves Black if somebody didn't sell us out? If Nobujuali came and told us in the 1900s that we're not Negro, colored, or Black, how in Allah's name are our people still calling themselves Black today if somebody who didn't look like them sold them out?
Yeah. And that's before some Black Power movement, any of that Black Power. The Prophet, then before that even was invented, the Prophet already was telling them we're not Negro, colored, Black. That's what I'm saying. You can tell who the sellout was because before that even invented, the Prophet told you in 1913 that you weren't. And then they went and created Black Power. Your own sellouts went and created Black Power, Black rights, Black Lives Matter. Prophet told you 100 and something years ago that you weren't that. But the sellouts continue to go around saying that we are.
Right, like the more said in the chat, ignorance is $1 trillion industry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. There it is. I like that one because that's bigger than human trafficking.
Ignorance. Bigger than human trafficking.
Business. That's the whole thing right there, the ignorance. I was gonna say that earlier too with the I wanted to add on about because people think the escape the escaping slavery thing. like, oh, I want liberation to escape. You know, the freedom is the knowledge. The liberation comes in the knowledge. Once you know what it is, you can, because the real slavery is the slavery of the mind. Nobody's going around getting beat. You know what I mean? But for some reason, we're in this rut because it's the mind, the knowledge. You not knowing anything keeps you in perpetual slavery. Like that's what's going on. It's the knowledge. Once you know, you can't be enslaved anymore. What did it say? Only an ignorant people can be enslaved.
Yep. Only an ignorant people could be enslaved. And also, too, we're not even falling for that BS about you meet the people where they are. That's why we call them black. Stop the BS. You can look at these people and see that they're not black. Call them brown people if you really want to go there. Call them brown people. You're only calling them black when they're not that. Ignorance is bliss. Only to the ignorant. Ignorance is not bliss to everybody. Ignorance is only bliss to the ignorant people. And the ignorant people are only ignorant because some sellout didn't tell them the truth about their nationality and birthrights and been playing games with them. We're gonna try to we're gonna try to get through this today. You know, you already know how it goes with us. We're gonna try to get through this today.
Right now. And so the fact that we're hearing different things to me is encouraging. The question is, are we mature enough to have a conversation here at Revolt that they never gonna have on MSNBC, CNN, or Fox?
Let's do it.
Because I'm gonna be real serious.
Well, hold on a second. So they're never gonna have this conversation on MSNBC or Fox or CNN, but you're sponsored by AT&T? How come some Asiatic business, how come Dame Dash Films didn't sponsor this?
Right.
How come Mass Appeal Records didn't sponsor this?
Yep. Puff Daddy's there. Where's Ciroc?
How come Ciroc didn't sponsor this?
Puff Daddy's there. He's there. Why Sean Combs? Why Sean Combs or Sean John? The Sean John brand. It should be Sean John brand on the screen, not AT&T.
How come AT&T? How come AT&T gets the vampire off our people? Why? Why them? Right? I definitely know AT&T wasn't founded by no Asiatics. Think about this.
Nope.
Remember what you just said. This is not going to be covered by whoever they said. But they're not going to say, oh yeah, don't forget, thanks AT&T for sponsoring our stuff. And AT&T is a colonizer. You think they never threw you under the bus already? Just by having AT&T there? You really think they didn't throw you under the bus already? You're really not thinking, are you? Which are the perfect individuals. Remember, 1.3 million already. September 14th, this thing came out. What is it today? 18th or something? 17th? 1.3 mil. These people still doing BS out here. So the whole point, let's just make sure we know what's going on here. Let's just see. Let's just make sure we know what's going on here. When we go in this law dictionary, we can't even find summit. How come we can't find summit in the law dictionary? They're up there talking law and all that stuff. How come? Revolt supposed to be beat up somebody, burn some stuff down, fight because something. No, we're just gonna chill and yell. Same stuff that there are people been doing, meeting up to try to figure out our problem. How much meeting up we gonna do to figure out our stuff?
That's the first thing I was gonna say too. That's something I wanted to look up into. They've been having meetings and gatherings and
summits
for the young people for how long?
Forever. Forever.
They've been doing this to get the people riled up, emotional, and to feed off of their emotions.
And who does that?
Perpetual ignorance.
The only people who do that are vampires. The only people that get people riled up, right? Just like in 60s, got people riled up. Black Panthers came out, told these people constitutional rights is why we bear arms. People are riled up, distracted by guns, didn't study Constitution, got their ass beat when they went out there. 1900s, Moors got the first black congressman of Chicago elected, Oscar the Priest. Moors did that. Not black guys. Moors voted for him to be the first black congressman of Chicago. What do you tell these people? We got to put the Constitution in the schools so that people can study them. We got to put the Constitution in the libraries. We got to put the Constitution in the hospitals. We got to put the Constitution anywhere there's people who look like us. A Constitution should be there for them to study. You think they listen to him? Their first black congressman? No, they listen to him. And what happened? Stock market crash. All these people lost everything that they had because they missed the point. Missed the point. Oscar de Priest. Day is a Moorish title. You just go look up Noble Drew Ali Oscar the Priest in Google Images, and you'll see him sitting there with the Prophet. That's first black congressman of Chicago, though. They told these people, enforce the Constitution if you want to be saved, because that's the supreme law of the land. But don't forget, you're not Negro black colored, so don't be talking about you're Negro black colored enforcing some constitution, because that's a folly. Negro black coloreds and Ethiopians don't have rights, so they can't enforce no constitution.
Or vote.
Or vote.
If you love black people, then you got to be able to look black people that you disagree with in the eye and talk to them like they're human, instead of yell at them, call them names, or disrespect them. We ain't had none of that shit here. So we getting ready to have a real conversation that only Revolt can have. And I'm excited about the brothers and sisters on this panel that are going to make that happen. And so what I'd like to get right into is this whole notion of Trap the Vote. Trap the Vote is not just the theme of our panel, but it's an organization. And it's a C3 organization that Steve started. Steve, I'd love to hear why you started this organization and what you want to accomplish in this term, in this election term.
First off, I want to acknowledge that this room feels like the cookout, and I feel super comfortable right now. This is dope. For real. Mike was talking about the potato salad. That's what we're about to cook up right now, right? So
Of course, Mike was talking about the potato salad. Are you people, what kind of weed are these people smoking? Really? What kind of weed you guys got over there? A cookout is what it feels like to be at. That's the best analogy we could use. That this feels like a cookout. Because what? Oh yeah, the cookout, it doesn't matter because all of the families there and we're all here. So since we're all here, no, a cookout ends and everybody goes back to doing BS after the cookout.
Yep.
After the cookout's done, after the table's clear and all that stuff, people aren't staying there to do something. People disperse and go back to where they came from. Probably worse off than before they came to the cookout. Because you already know at the cookout, they're going to have their ribs on there. They're going to have their chicken on there. They're going to have their baby back, whatever on there. They're going to have all the BS that has our people thinking messed up like they're thinking right now.
Mm-hmm.
No greens.
At the Revolt. At the Revolt.
At the Revolt.
They having cookout. That's why nobody takes it serious.
Remember, we're only 8 minutes in. We ain't even got anywhere yet. And this thing is already a debacle. This stuff is already out the window. Ain't no world taking this serious. People up here for style and fashion. People not up here to try to free our people. They're not up here to free our people. They're here because this is a photo op. No different than Conscious Community had their little photo op and whatever like that. They got the Moors in there and the NOI in there and the black guys in there and everybody's a nation and then everybody take a picture and then you look around today. What happened to all the unity that these people are talking about? What happened to the unity? What happened? Why did nothing happen? Because these people are stateless. And stateless people don't have a consciousness. Stateless people aren't cognizant. Stateless people just all about feel good. What the stateless people don't know is that everybody else deals with metaphysics, especially this European. And all they got to do is put the right people on the stage, get you all riled up, and they eat forever. Because like King Alfred Plan tells you, it's all about energy. It has nothing to do with anything else but these people having their fangs in us to get our energy. They don't want anything else. They don't care how many houses you got, how much cars you got, how much funds you got in bank account. It all means nothing. All they want is energy. And not only is all they want is energy, but again, they're going to have your own incite you to be emotional so that you can exude the best energy that they love. Hatred. Hate whoever. Dislike whoever. Racism, whoever. All that is about energy. Has absolutely nothing to do with your feelings. F your feelings. Because Chinese don't give their energy to anybody. Jews don't give their energy to anybody. Europeans, they don't give their energy to anybody. But these Negroes, blacks and coloreds, who think that they know something because they're doing some summit put together by a guy who all his artists, they're either in jail, turned preacher, or dead. And you don't get what's going on? You really think that people are in your best interest? Tripping.
I'm a member of a team. And Trap the Vote is about civic engagement. It's about political participation. It's about making sure that young people vote. We talk about youth of culture. When we think about the culture today, the most powerful culture on the planet, hip hop culture, Black culture, that's at the center of it, and every other race of people and young people that are bought into that. When we talk about the fear of gods that Jerry Lorenzo drops, and all the white kids get them, and all the Black kids wanted them, and we're all a part of the same streams on our Instagram timelines. This is globally powerful. And I believe that we have a lot of cultural power. I think that we've seen an incredible progressive shift over the past 7 years with the rise of many groups all over the country, and young people particularly using their voice and talking about things that they care about.
No, go ahead.
Trap the Vote is about bottling that cultural energy and that cultural power and turning it into political power. I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to uplift the voice of young people all over this country, because these are the future leaders of this country. And young people, we're listening to them. We're doing polls, we're doing surveys, and we're listening to young people. What we're hearing them say is that they don't feel heard. We're hearing them say that, hey, we're being real loud about the issues that we care about, and our political representation is too polarized, and they're not making anything happen for us. We want to make sure that the 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, up to 35, everybody's voting, that everybody feels powerful, that everybody feels engaged, so that we can usher in a new generation of leadership. We're talking about not only millennials, but Gen Y and Gen Z. This is the future, and the future is right now. And I think that we need to take young people more seriously. So that's what Trap the Vote's about.
So thank you so much for that. So Tamika, I want you to chime in and tip you as well on this. So often in Black spaces, the language we use to young people about why they should vote is because somebody died for them to vote. We hear it over and over again. I don't go to the polls because somebody died for me.
They died because they weren't supposed to be voting. That's why they died. Because their dumbass went to vote is why they died. How come we keep looking at things from this skewed perspective? How come we looking at things warped all the time? The reason why certain people got beat up, killed at so-called polls wasn't because of race, whatever. It's because you're stateless. What are you doing at the booth voting for somebody? You're not no citizen here. You're not no European. Let's go again to a reference point. Rights of indigenous people. Rights of indigenous people. Prefaced by Grand Chief Nature L. Bay, edited by Taj Tariq Bay, the Great Seal MST of A, the North Gate, Northwest of Maxim. Political and constitutional reconnection. In order to be recognized by the nations of the earth and the nation government in which you live, and to be acknowledged by all free national beings, one must declare his or her true and free national name and national origin. This activated and dutiable social standing is a major determinant of one's consenting legal, social, and political status within organized government, within society as a whole. Ignorance of this basic obligation to self and to society is not given the benefit of doubt and does not excuse one from the possible and actual negative consequences established by an incorrect and colored status. This activated and dutiable social standing is a major determinant of one's consenting legal, social, and political status within organized government and within society as a whole. Big quotes. Ignorance of this basic obligation to self and to society is not giving the benefit of doubt and does not excuse one from the possible and actual negative consequences, getting your ass beat or killed for going to vote for some European corporation that you have nothing to do with, established by an incorrect and colored status. The law begins with self. Therefore, a knowledge of self and being oneself is socially and politically indispensable within any orderly civil government. What is the problem with our people? They're stateless. Because they're stateless, nothing called rights applies to them. Because they've neglected the duty of self. Why do they neglect the duty of self? Because all these popular guys out here are sitting here talking about black people, calling them black, saying that we got black this and black that. There's nothing called that for our people. Don't get mad, get right, correct. Don't get emotional. Realize that Moore's been telling you something for the past 100-something years that you have never considered, but you considered everybody else's BS. Islam, Moore.
I just wanted to real quick add on too, because you were just talking about how, you know, they used to get treated when they used to go vote at the polls or whatever, when they used to get beat and stuff like that. My thing too, we got to look at that all the way through, because when we say that they went to the polls, you know, that's just some building or they was outside, they just went somewhere. And I say that to say because they still do the same thing today. It's not, I don't care if you're on the sidewalk, pole, in a store, they're choking out so-called black people every day. It's not like, oh, because they went to go vote. Nah, people just standing there minding their business. Highwaymen come over there and murder them right there. It's the same thing that's going on. But they make it seem like, oh, they went to go die because they went to go vote. They choked Eric Gardner out for some so-called, for the cigarettes or whatever. You know, they like, it's nothing different. It's the same stuff that's going on, that's been going on. They just make it seem as if, oh, they went to go vote. You was outside. You went to some place and got murdered. That's what happened. And because you're stateless, and it's the same thing, because you're stateless, nothing's going to happen. They were getting murdered back then. They get murdered today right in front of us on camera. Still nothing happens because stateless. It's not, oh, that's all off of emotion, you know, try to get the people riled up. That's what I'm trying to show, you know, by saying like, oh, they went to go because of the voting and all of that. That's all for emotion. Just like the same thing they use for, oh, they're killing so-called black people. They say that for emotion. The whole problem is nationality. They're stateless. Like the Grand Sheik keeps saying. We're not trying to say like, oh, that's messed up that they're not acknowledging the ancestors for going through what they went through. No, this is the same stuff they're doing today. You know, like, and we're acknowledging that by saying you better proclaim your nationality.
No, just to add on quick fast too, because somebody in the chat said, you know, once you proclaim it, then what? They still come and arrest you. Sharon Tracy Gale Bay. I'm just saying. Now let's go there, right? Again,
please,
because people don't study, they think they got stuff locked down. Rights of Indigenous People, book by Grand Sheik Nature El Bay, who many of these people never even heard about. They never even went and watched his videos on YouTube to know how real it is. But this is what he had to say. And again, let's just back this up right here. What you're saying, right? Once you proclaim, they still come get you. All right, let's qualify that. Moors are Asiatics and not Europeans. Why do they continue to transact business in European names and think there is no social, political, legal, or lawful consequences? Moors who have accepted the false teachings and slave-deluding brands, Sharon is a slave brand, Tracy is a slave brand, Gail is a slave brand. That's not Moorish name. You think you put Bay on some European name? That means that you proclaim something? You're still these people's property.
Straddling the fence.
You're still their property. They still have jurisdiction once you're playing with the European slave brands. This is why Noble Drew Ali said Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, because he knew he started a Noble Drew. Drew is some European, even though it comes from Druids. You know it's spelled D-R-E-W. He was talking about Druids. But we're not even going to go there because we know Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, and these people don't have any jurisdiction over that. Zero jurisdiction over that. Why? Because the slave brands is what gets our people in trouble. Still today, even as Moors. Mansur Ball Bey. What happened to him? He got murdered, right? What are you doing? Ball. What's that? That's an Asiatic name? Ball is an Asiatic name. Oh yeah, Mansur. Yeah, good job there. Ball is European. Again, why do they continue to transact business in European names and think that there is no social, political, legal, or lawful consequence? And don't tell me some BS about, oh, well, my name is Tamika, so that's Asiatic. No, your mom made that up yesterday. Don't tell me about Tamika, some ancient Moorish name. Laquana, my name is Laquana, so that's Asiatic name. That ain't no Asiatic name. Mom just made that up. Ain't no Laquana in ancient times. Right? And again, remember, majority of these people who play that game of, oh yeah, have a European name, just put the Bay on it, they probably did some UCC or some BS too. They claim the straw, because remember, straw can't, so they gotta be the straw kind of to claim the straw. Moors who have accepted the false teachings and slave-deluding brands which the occupational European slaveholders have forced upon them have been living in violation of this foresaid divine honor principle. If the truth and the light that commands the positive benefits of the true polity of society would apply to the forlorn among us, then the social responsibility of one being in one's own proper person must be taught, preserved, and enforced. It is furthermore stated that it is the civic duty of the natural people and the true American citizens to aid in the restoration of the elementary and basic teachings and tenets of civilized order and right law government within the North American territories. Again, it is furthermore stated that it is the civic duty of the natural peoples and the true American citizens to aid in the restoration of the elementary, to aid in the elementary, to aid in the elementary, to aid in the elementary. What's the elementary? The elementary is you don't put L or Bay on your name or whatever until you know what the hell you're doing. But nah, because there's all these scholars out here on YouTube, Johnny come latelys, convincing people Well, yeah, you just put LMB on there and go out there and do whatever you got to do. Consequences are going to be on your head. Because people who don't know better play themselves. People who don't know better play themselves. And again, there's nothing about, you can't put the L or Bay on the European name. You better know about reservation of rights and all that stuff. You're going to play around in that. You better not be thinking that you're just going to be out there with some European name, put L or Bay on it, and then you did it. That's the final straw. No, because again, if Moors would study from the real masters, not from these Johnny-come-latelys, they would know a term called clip sovereignty. Like the example that the master teacher used. It's like a bird that you clip his wings. It's not going to be only walking, but if it tries to fly, it's not really going to get too far because you clipped its wings. That's what you do when you say El or Bay on a European name. You clip your sovereignty because sovereignty comes from the nation. And if we're saying we're Moorish American, we can't be Bill Bay as an Asiatic because Bill is European. So European can't exercise Moorish sovereignty. European can exercise European sovereignty. But that only applies in Europe. That doesn't apply over here. So again, we just wanted to give you some reference points. Now remember, this is Grand Chief Nature's book. You could look him up on YouTube. Get yourself squared away. So you can have a broader perspective. Because people's perspective is like spaghetti. Skinny. That's not the perspective that you want. You want 500-year oak tree perspective if you're in the Moorish movement. As soon as you have spaghetti perspective, you're probably going to get chopped down quick, fast. Because this is about nationality and birthrights of the Moors. The Sundry Free Moors weren't from over here. Sundry Free Moors weren't from over here. They were brought over here. What did they say? Oh, we're under the jurisdiction of the Sultan. Because they weren't from over here. We're jurisdiction down there. We're not under the Negro Acts. We're Moors. But we're from over there. You're not going to bring us over here and then tell me, oh yeah, I'm a Negro. Oh no, I'm not a Negro. Good try. Good try. What was the Sundry Free Moors really doing? Enforcing the Constitution. Because remember, the Constitution comes from the treaties. So the supreme law of the land is also the treaties.
Yep.
That these people knew that these Europeans had treaties with the Sultan and knew that the Negro Acts were a fraud. And that was before Noble Drew Ali. So they were also telling all these people around them that we're not Negro black colored, just like Noble Drew Ali was telling these people after them. Trust me, I have the MC last name. I know that goes back to the Moors. But I don't know MC last name. This is why we could never get through anything. Because 10 minutes in, we didn't get anywhere yet. We've been here for an hour already. We're only 10 minutes in the damn summit, whatever. Look how much stuff got presented in an hour. Only 10 minutes of this thing. We can push the red button, go home now. People still going to be Negro black colored and not get it. Like we said some advanced, like we're on some a seer or something like that. We said some advanced stuff. We don't know advanced stuff. This is elementary. This is elementary. Real simple. Just use your common sense. The highest sense known to man. That's all you got to do. Use your common sense. Noble Drew Ali said, green star with 5 points. Red flag. Well, some people have the solid star and what star Noble Drew Ali said? He said 5-point star. Okay, so what the hell you mean? What are you talking about? These guys have different stars and all that stuff, and Moroccans have a interlocking star. Is the star 5 points on it? Okay, that's the Moorish flag. What the hell are you talking about? Use your damn common sense. Please, more. Before we press play again, you got anything to throw in there?
No, you're killing them right now. That's what I'm appreciating.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the nincompoops. See where they're going.
I appreciate those that came before me. I vote for my babies. I vote for my interests. I vote for my business. And so as we attempt to kind of change this narrative.
A lot more. Oh, I thought you had something. My bad.
Or evolve the narrative as we engage the community. What is the way that we need to do that differently than we have, especially oftentimes when we don't have candidates that are directly inspiring young people to be involved? Tamika and then Tip.
You know, I think that in this moment, we definitely have to be delivered from that old language around who died for us to have our right to vote and all of these different things. It doesn't work. I think in this particular moment, we have to respect the fact that young people are brilliant. They are reading, watching, listening, and paying attention. And whether or not we value their opinions does not mean it does not count. The only way we can bring young people to the table is to talk to them about the issues that are at the center of what they care about. In their communities, police brutality is an issue. Obviously, education is an issue. Jobs are issues. These are the things that they care about. So when we fly in looking fancy and having people that...
Islam more.
Now, the real problem is the question was like, before you start answering the question, the whole question is covered. As soon as he said, first thing, he said, what do we? Well, okay, well, who's we? And you know it's us already leading back to African-American, Black, Negro, colored. That doesn't have any rights. Back to that again. You're not voting. You're not getting no one in no seats, in no Congress, no nothing. Because, again, that voting stuff that they're talking about, they didn't be able to they weren't going to be able to vote until 1965 during the Voting Act of 1965. That was when minorities were able to vote. But then Congress said that was unconstitutional. So these people still don't have the right to vote because they keep thinking Negro, colored, Blacks have the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole going down the panel asking everybody what should they do, the first problem at hand is nobody's even voting. You just up here a bunch of emotions and all of that. They keep thinking 14th and 15th Amendment made Negro, colored, Black citizens of something. That's not true. That's not true at all. 14th and 15th Amendment is unconstitutional. There's only 10 Bill of Rights. There's only 10. There's no 14th, 15th Amendment. And the prophet told you in 1913 or whatnot, between 1913 and 1930, that the 14th and 15th Amendment was not needed. Ben told us that. So then that's why, again, when you said that Morris helped get the first Congress in there.
Oh yeah,
Oscar
the priest.
Oscar the priest, because they voted as Moors. That's why they were able to get that person in there in that seat, because they voted as Moors. Your vote doesn't count as Negro colored black. That's a setup. But that's not real. That was a canard. That wasn't real.
Not real.
Because my thing is, they're gonna go down the whole panel asking the same question to everybody. When the problem in the beginning, the whole thing is statelessness. These people have no nationality. But the thing is, everybody on the panel knows that. Like they know that. Like when you first watch the video, they show Puff Daddy. He's in the audience. But we know that you can go watch the video with Puff Daddy with the fez on.
Even though he was faking. Even though he was faking, you knew. He knew what was up.
Yep.
Kim Porter had the Blackamoor brooch with the diamonds in it and all that stuff. Think they don't know who the Moors are? Where's Kim Porter at right now? Oh, all right.
Yep.
All right. All right.
That don't know anything about Miss Lucy's water being dirty and don't know anything about what's going on the ground, we are missing them completely. We cannot talk about people without having them as part of the conversation. And more importantly, I feel like so many of our spaces, even Black spaces where we are organizing, are too elite for the people who we talk about. So if we are organizing without those who are the strippers, the scammers, the people who have been cast out in our society, if they are not at the front of the conversation, we're just doing something to make ourselves feel good. We're not really doing anything for the people in our communities.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with what Tamika said and what you said. I don't think that people should be motivated to vote because of who died for them to vote. I think they should be motivated to vote because of the decisions that are being made affect them and affect the people that they would die for. You understand what I'm saying? I think that one of the main issues is we wait too late to start to try to motivate young people. This should be a conversation in first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way up through high school, not wait until you're 18 and it's the first election after your 18th birthday and then try to explain the importance of voting to you. I think it has to be like a mindset that is developed over time. And also, I mean, I know you said you don't have an agenda, and I appreciate that because we need people like you, but I do have an agenda. My agenda is to liberate my people, teach them to love each other again, revitalize my community, create a self-sustaining, financially stable ecosystem that will be present for generations to come. And you can't do that without putting the proper people in office that have similar interests and a passionate, just a passionate need to fulfill these voids, whether it's education, whether it's employment, whether it's just proper opportunities for us and access not a seat at the table. We want the motherfucking table. You know what I'm saying? We don't want a seat. And I'm tired of asking. You can never continue to ask the motherfucker who's oppressing you to stop oppressing you. You know what I mean? That shit it only happens by leverage and force. And our leverage is our culture. Our leverage is the power of our dollar. And until we take control of that and redirect that to the places and the people that we need to redirect it towards, then we'll always be in a position where we got our hand out asking the motherfucker to do something for us.
So with that, because I want to build on that, I'd like you to chime in.
Because when he went in and said they don't want a seat at the table, they want the whole table or whatnot. See, that right there, only way you can have, okay, You can't have the whole table if it's not your house. It's not your table. It's not. If you still going on with the paradigm that your ancestors came over here on a slave ship, if you keep going on with the paradigm that your ancestors came over here on a slave ship, then you keep thinking that you came over here as a guest, as a foreigner, as you're not from here. This ain't your land. So you're not sitting at the table. At the table, you get to sit, or in the master room of the house, you get to sit in the guest room. This ain't your house. You're not sitting at the table. You know what I mean? You get to have. You're not the head of the table. You're not the main, people of the house of the table. You're a guest at the table. You got to ask for stuff. You don't just get up and go in the refrigerator and get the whatever. Because that's not your table. You going on with the paradigm as if you're a guest. Your ancestors came over here on a slave ship, so you're not from here. So that's not your table. The only way that can be your table is this your home. The only way you can be your home if you was the Aboriginal indigenous people. This our home. This Morocco.
There's a lot more. Let me back you up. Let me back you up with that. With another reference point, just so people don't just hear us talking and think we're just out here talking. BS,
oh yeah, it's fine, please.
Right?
Yep.
The U.S. Nigger Industry by Taj Tariq Bey. Right, the U.S. Nigger Industry. It has long since been exposed, proven, and objectively taught that the subjugated and suppressed peoples of North America, Central America, South America, and Americana, the adjoining islands, who have been tagged, branded, and falsely referred to as Negroes, Blacks, Coloreds, Indians, West Indians, Latinos, etc., are without doubt the direct and or mixed descendants of the ancient Moabite Moors, the Asiatic African Moabite Moors, who were and are the true ancient Aboriginal and indigenous natural people of the land, North, South, and Central Americas. And so we have facing us and before us and our threatening our unsuspecting progeny, a most devastating, perplexing, and vexing social, political, and economic problem. This sad problem is a literal and factual reality of the formation of a complex order of corporations or artificialities, feigning as legitimate government and people. Such entities were colorably established to extract the essence and energies from a defeated, suppressed, and miseducated people. This callous mental appendage and social malignant postule, as foisted upon the civilized world, is known as the nigger industry. It is a fact that the people branded and falsely referred to as Negroes, Blacks, Coloreds, Indians, West Indians, and Latinos, etc., are without doubt the direct and or mixed descendants of the ancient Moabite Moors, the Asiatic African Moabite Moors, who were and are the true ancient Aboriginal and indigenous natural peoples of the land, North, Central, and South Americas. Islam Moors.
Islam. You know what backs that? All the proclamations, Rahm Emanuel, the HR, I forgot what number it is from so-called state of Georgia that says that the Moors are the mothers and fathers of civilization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's plenty of stuff to back what you was just saying. You know, like the prophet said, go to those who know government, and they tell you too, backing what the prophet's saying. You know, just to back what you was saying too. Like That's incredible right there. Like, because you can just go through all the reference points to back that.
Too many for Moors, because we already know that there's some type of studying that we do. We don't just talk because we have a mouth or whatever.
That brings up the Star Fort, that many people are talking about, that Dr. Eileen brings to our attention, Michelle Gibson brings to our attention, the Star Fort, the prophet telling us that, we're Aboriginal, indigenous to these lands, and, seeing that all this Moorish architecture around, like, it's still here, and, you can walk around and still see it. It's like, crazy. Like, that's the even more, proof, too. Like, you can literally just walk around and see that you're in Morocco. Like, you can still see the architecture in all the old buildings, schools, hospitals, colleges, whatever. They still here. All the castles, homes, whatever, they still here.
Oh, and also with those things being still here, never forget that the Aboriginal indigenous people never claimed those. The so-called people who are Moors, but they want to be Aboriginal indigenous and they want to be tribes and all that stuff, they're the first people here, but how come they never claimed none of these buildings that's been here for centuries? If they're the Aboriginal people, they should have had something to do with building these buildings that's been here. These canals and riverways and all this history that's on this side of the hemisphere that's made in stone. They should be making some type of claim on those, because Europeans didn't build those. Europeans will tell you Europeans didn't build those. But you never hear the Aboriginal, indigenous, whoever's claim that they have something to do with those things. Never. They don't even bring them up, which should let you know how much of a fraud that those people are, and that they're attached to some slave brands that some European came over here and put on them. Because we already know 1621, Indian was substituted for Moor. And that Mexicans have Moorish origin.
Right.
These people play you out your own stuff. Please, Mark, go ahead, Mark.
Yep. No, I can't just imagine painted faces, painted faces, feathers, and teepees, but there's energy, Star Forts, stuff, castles right there. Like, how does that, I don't get that. Like, it gotta be like, that doesn't match to me. You know what I mean? Like, you guys Google these Star Forts, like, they're the most amazing things. You know what I mean? The way that they're shaped, the star shapes that they have, the hexagrams and stuff like that they're forming. Like, all that stuff is like mind-boggling. Nothing to do with no TV or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, nothing to do with none of that. Bow and arrows and stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're talking about Star Fort energy buildings. You know what I mean? Like, with all this stuff that was predates, any European colonizer, any of that cheapy modern crap that they showing, that's all TV too. That came from TV. And again, what Europeans say that they discovered, and this is what they found, and this is their culture. Like, that's them doing that. Even every time I see they show those pictures with Moors, this is just me. With Moors wearing those, so-called Indian costumes or whatever, I think that's something they made them wear. I'm like, I don't think they wear that. Like, that's just me. I'm like, nah, y'all not wearing that. Like, come on, for real, y'all not wearing that. Y'all don't dress like that. Y'all would never. The stuff I read about and stuff, you know what I mean, before the whole, I'm like, what? You got the golden age of the Moor and stuff like that, and I'm like, teepees, Indian feathers and stuff. Like, That don't add up to what we was. You talking about the art and cult of civilization?
Yep. Founders.
TVs. That's not. We talking about first lights, paved roads, running water. What you mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like with the stuff that they find in the Grand Canyon, the stuff that they find in the Amazon, the technology that they find. You know what I mean? That predate our technology.
And just like the Hebrews and whatever, Brother Negam in the chat, he's Aboriginal indigenous tribal guy. And he said, Mom said, we come from the mound builders. So is he Aboriginal indigenous guy? And he knows that they came from the mound builders. And who are these people that are supposed to be the mound builders, which are Moors, telling you that there's some tribe? That the Moors said again in the chat, the timelines don't match. People are playing games with you.
In here, if that is true, and I'd love to hear that if you all think that is true, then we really shouldn't be acquiescing to the agenda of either party. We essentially should be developing an agenda that is ours and forcing them to respond to that. But so often we are simply saying, I want to support Trump or I want to support this candidate, and it becomes a party decision versus forcing them to know what our vote is worth. So I'm interested, because both of you are on different sides of the aisle, how is the best way to engage a two-party system?
I'm on the black side of the aisle.
Well, we
represent two different candidates.
Talk to me about it.
But I'm on the black side of the aisle. I'm on the side wherever the good potato salad is. You know, so we just I'm gonna let my sister speak first, but I want everyone to know my political interests start and end with how I grew up in Atlanta. So it's just a little foolish for us to say that we don't inspire children by saying someone died for your right, because the people who oppose you glorify their heroes. I am a proud American. Let me say that first. I have no problem saying that because I provided an opportunity in this country that I travel around the world other black men and women don't have.
No, you can't be a proud American and be black. If you're a proud American, then you're the natives who were in this land that are copper colored, and then European came and met you here, if you're American. If you're copper colored, copper is not black. Copper might be green. Copper is not black. And again, reference point, just so we can, you know, put some things in perspective for these black whoever's out here. These socially relative and definitive words, Negro, nigger, black, and colored, have been and are commonly used by persons, natural and or corporate, who dwell in or occupy the North American territories, the land of the ancient ones. For the few sincere natural persons who possess the fortitude within their minds and hearts to rebuke the falsehood and lies which have been perpetuated in the name of the varied versions of gods, countries, and nations, we will present the rightful counter, toxin arguments, and information concerning the origin of and the historical and political evolutionary truth, nature, and meaning of the word Negro and of the nigger industry. Much human suffering has evolved from the nigger fakery propagation, its misplacement, and from its socially established misuses. Ancillary to the presentment of these discomforting issues, we will say all conscious Moors have a responsibility to self, to the nation, and to the civilized world to honestly and faithfully help and assist in the great work of uplifting fallen humanity. Moors should also assist in the active work necessary to bring about the dissolution of the fictions involving the mysteries, lies, and deception relative to misconceptions about the Negro, nigger, and of the social, economic, spiritual, and political problems which its misunderstood propagation has produced, thusly reducing the artificially induced social, mental, and economic injury plagues brought upon the world. Moors should also assist in the active work necessary to bring about the dissolution of the fictions involving the mysteries, lies, and deception relative to misconceptions about the Negro nigger and the social, economic, spiritual, and political problems which its misunderstood propagation has produced. This is what you're looking at right now on the panel. What you're looking at on the panel is the misconceptions that the social, economic, spiritual, and political nigger brand and the misunderstanding of that has produced. Because people think they know what's up. As soon as they say black and all that stuff, they're disqualified automatically. Not just by Moors, by everybody else in the world too. As soon as they go there, as soon as they're at the podium and they're about to give the speech or whatever like that, but they're not doing it properly, they play themselves. Quick, fast, they play themselves.
Yeah. Now, it is my responsibility to take that opportunity and create more opportunities by way of economy, by way of having a platform to speak on behalf of, and by way of making sure my constitutional rights and privileges are honored, which is why you hear me, who stands a lot of times with people on the left, say, I don't give a fuck what them niggas talking about. I'm not giving up my gun for nobody, because the Second Amendment promises me that. I speak and say what I like because the First Amendment promises me that.
So Mike, hold on. No. I don't want you to stop. What I want you to do is tell me about the process, because you and Bernie have been riding hard, but I'm interested in knowing what was the conversation.
So but it's bigger than Bernie. We're going to keep it local. I'm talking about Atlanta. And what I mean is Atlanta is a black city that succeeded with non-black, well, with black, but non-black total agreement. We had a black paper here that was owned by black Republicans that helped the SCLC promote, which was owned by black liberals. We had black ministers who were ultimately conservative and told Dr. King when he was a young man in the late 50s, hey, I want to start this civil rights campaign. They said, there's Alabama, take your ass on down there and go. It didn't start in Atlanta because Atlanta niggas had some money and they was a little bougie. It started outside Atlanta and came back with young people. So young people, the old people now who you disagree with once were young. And because they did things like took bullets, took beatings, took bashes to the brain, you have that opportunity. So absolutely, there's a blood oath that's been made. There's been a blood oath made in every American. When we learned about the American Revolution in Collier Heights Elementary in an all-black neighborhood, we did not learn about a white country that simply used us as slaves. We learned that the first person to die on the behalf of this country was a black man named Crispus Attucks. That gives a sense of pride to a black boy. Well, what happens to that black boy then? That little motherfucker grows up and goes to Frederick Douglass High School. Frederick Douglass is the most photographed person of the 19th century, a person who worked with both Democrats and Republicans, who helped free not only black people, but women. He said in 1865, women and black people deserve the right to vote. But I wouldn't know that had I not been educated by syllabus that was given from Clark University and Dr. Asa Gilligan. I am what you see when you see me and you see Tip Harris is the product of black excellence. We didn't wake up and a nigga started using big words and we sing and dance and all of a sudden we got it figured out. This is a process.
You are a part of a process. The same way a Jewish child is a part of a 10,000-year process of keeping a culture. Clarence Avant is the reason you have Sean Combs. It's the reason you would have the next. So never in your black ass life allow your history to be wiped away. Now, after you know I'm dragging my black ass out when I don't feel like it, I don't feel like going to vote, but I'm going to get my black ass up. I'm going to call my black ass friend T.I. I'm going to say, get your black ass up.
Oh, before we carry on, Islam more.
Islam.
Just put your title on the record and put that message out there again that you just told me.
Yeah. It's New Oral Bay. I have a little encounter there. Policy enforcers.
Oh, you could go through the little encounter if there's more than that he said.
Hey?
You could go through you can go through the encounter if he said more than that. So we got some time.
Well, like it is, it's Little New York. Little New York had the issue with them.
Yeah.
And they kidnapped him. But then they take him over there and he said it's the fastest he ever see get kidnapped and let out. They put him through the back door, not even the front. Send him through the back door. Fastest he ever see get kidnapped and they let him out.
Kidnap and let go.
Yeah, through the back door.
And what was it? What was it that the highwayman said?
The Moors, they're not doing enough. Because we don't even know what's going on. When them go over there now, then the sergeant or whatever recognize him. I know he missed, but the rest don't. So that's why when I keep telling us we need to get together, go into these places, let these people see us. One person, they don't see that. They don't see you. They don't see you.
So because of his previous activity with the head of that division, when the division head saw him, that's when they knew, oh well, we have to let him go or whatever, because he knows the big dog.
Good. You remember him. He knows him. He knows him. Don't have to sign no promise to appear, no nothing. Just give him whatever citation and whatever they from there on. And technically, even show him that he's just going to go to court and they're going to throw it out. Technically, that's what the highwayman tell him. But I can speak for him. It's just pieces that I get from him, I'm saying right now.
Right.
Yeah, but he himself is a little bit down there now. That's what they said to him, and that's what happened to his people. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just saying we're not doing enough.
The Moors aren't doing enough.
Moors not doing enough.
Islam.
Not doing enough. And as a young one, pushing, going through all these trials and tribulations, and Moors, they're not doing enough. And he's not happy about that with himself.
Right. Islam.
He can speak like that from what he experienced today.
Right. Based on him getting kidnapped and the convo that was going on and him getting let out the back, it's a fact that Moors aren't doing enough right now.
Exactly.
It's not hearsay anymore.
No. So right now he's not upset with the highwayman. He's upset with the Moors right now.
Right.
Technically.
Right. And just like, because we're watching this little summit thing, and they were just talking about the young ones and getting the message to the young ones and all that, or whatever. Right. So you calling is right in tune.
See, divine powers.
Islam, boy. Well, we'll definitely touch on that this weekend too, on Sunday. We'll definitely get in on that and, have some conversations on what the Moors should be doing as far as what. Well, let me ask you, what do you think Moors doing more means? Like, what more do Moors have to do?
More in the sense of what happened is that let them know about us. They need to know we are here. Only their boss know, but they don't know.
Right. The little mans, you mean, don't know.
No.
Right. The beat cop. So, the beat cop and the policy enforcer who's on the street doesn't know.
No.
Right.
That's why when you walk in there, the same sergeant man was supposed to release him. Knowing. You already know him.
Right.
Do whatever, send him to the back door. And he actually even told him that they're only going to go there and it's going to do this business.
Islam more. Give thanks for that one.
Yeah. When you get after you come off, maybe give him a buzz and have a word with him.
Yeah, I'll give him a shout for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, more.
Peace and love.
Islam.
I told him these are our test and trial, and they ain't gonna stop us.
Right.
They ain't gonna stop us, and don't feel down. Don't feel down.
Yeah, especially if you got let out the back.
Yeah. You back. You back listening to, bro.
Especially if you got let out the back. Cause certain people got kidnapped and they got $100,000 bail on their head. Right? Islam. Give thanks more. We'll build soon. Peace. Right? All Moors are active, not passive. They should be active, not passive. They should be active, not passive. All Moors are active, not passive. So coming back to that, go ahead, Moore.
No, that's just to show too another proof to the question that was asked earlier. You proclaimed, then what? He proclaimed, then what? He showed you. He showed you.
Right.
He showed you. He showed you. He was proclaimed, then what? Oh, you gotta don't let him go. Let him go.
Let him go.
Kick the more out the back. Kick the more out the back.
Yep.
Vote. Take your black ass children to vote so it becomes a habit. Who is your congressman? Who is your senator? Who is your city council person? And if you cannot answer those, you have already failed yourself. Google that and know that it is my responsibility because I stand on the shoulders of others. It is my responsibility because it's my clear and present right now. And it is my responsibility on behalf of my children going forward. And that's simply why I vote. And I appreciate that. And I think the context, no, I'm serious. I think the context you made between knowing and teaching our history versus the messaging that we're using are two different things. Because I totally agree with you. I still have the question for you nonetheless, because I think you have negotiated with people what your support looks like in ways that a lot of us have never negotiated. The same way business people have sat at the table with people and negotiated deals that other people can't negotiate. So I'm curious in knowing, what does the negotiation look like with a candidate? When you say, I'm going to give you my support, these are the things that have to be there in order for me to give that. Because I think that's important as we start talking about who we're going to support. And I need to hear that from you. I mean, if you look at our mayor, I supported Vincent Forrest, who was a Bernie crat. He put forth along marijuana decriminalization bill. Well, why does marijuana decriminalization matter in Atlanta? I know a lot of young men who are my sons and Tip's son age, they get a bullshit marijuana conviction. All of a sudden, their Hope Scholarship ends at Clark, ends at Morehouse, ends at Georgia State. I wanted to make sure that couldn't happen to a young man again. I told her when she was on city council, if you can get city council, if you guys support that decriminalization bill, you have my full and total support. And I would like to publicly say, man, me and T.I. stood out in the rain on those steps that day and that morning and gave those speeches on her behalf because we saw her come closer to the progressive chain of thought that we wanted. And after doing it, Atlanta followed. Clarkston was ahead of us, but you see other counties like DeKalb with net now decriminalizing. That comes directly out of local politics with Vincent Ford. That comes directly out of us sitting down talking to candidates. And in terms of national candidates, if your national policy appeals or I see it can work for my people in some way, you have my support, but you also have my honesty. And my
honesty is always going to tell you what I do and what I don't support. Or like black folks say, what I do and what I don't fuck with. If I fuck with more of what you do, I fuck with you. If I don't, I'm gonna go quiet as your wife when she mad.
Same thing on the other side. How are we negotiating? What is the negotiation tactics so that we're not acquiescing to somebody else's agenda, but being clear about ours in the process of giving them our support?
Well, I would say the first thing is that it's important to identify what our agenda actually is. And I think that the most important thing for people in this room to understand is that there is a very small window. Right now, the black vote is the most important vote in the country. There's a very small window before our vote's not going to matter. These conferences won't matter, and us sitting here won't matter, because illegal immigration, if you're looking at the numbers, every new birth in this country, 60% of all new births are Hispanic Americans, and the Democrats are about, listen, you're saying, let me get to the point. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. I say illegal is the new black because it's true. And there's a reason why they're advocating for open borders. Right now, our vote means a lot, but new births of black Americans have stagnated. The population growth within black America has stagnated. So the things that I pay attention to are the numbers. I pay attention to the birth rates in this country, which is why I'm pro putting something down to stop illegal immigration. The second thing that I think is really important, and you may have heard me testify in front of Congress.
Now, again, reference point. The Negro fiction and its misplacement are well known as potent antisocial factors. Royal adepts, Moorish scientists, Great Seal scholars, Master Masons, Eastern Stars, world scholars, amanuensis masters, ecclesiastics, and no doubt the usurping Europeans who created the nigger identity fiction know, for they are the foremost benefactors of its institutionalization. The negative use of polarization was and is customarily ritualized definitively and through polity as a mental warping tool. Mexicans are Aboriginal and indigenous to here. They're not illegal immigrants. Nobody's talking about the real illegal immigrant. They never do. They always avoid speaking about the real illegal immigrant, who are the foreign European colonizers in this land, who, again, like we said, the usurping Europeans who created the nigger identity fictions know that they're the foreigners. That's why they created the Negro fiction. In order to get the people out of their own status so that these Europeans could claim it. And now they're the governors and they're the grand whatever, and they're the attorney whatever, and they're all these things that was really supposed to be our seats. And opposed to telling them that they're the foreigners and get them out of here, they're talking about their own brother and sister who, if we go to Mexico, Brazil, Cuba, whatever like that, people there look like us. How are they immigrants? And how are they illegal when they're from the Americas? How is it that our people are going to look at their brother and say that their brother's an immigrant, but look at this European and call him president? Call him vice president. Call her secretary of state. Call them mayor. Call them whatever it is that they call them, but their own brother and sister who only speaks a different language than them, but looks just like them, they call them foreigner. Islam more. You might be muted. Or they dropped you.
Oh, Islam, Green Sheik.
Islam.
My fault, I was on mute the whole time.
It's all good.
I just want to add on real quick. Just read something real quick. Mind's warfare effectiveness is a function of its skillful use of communication media. Okay, hold on. Yep. All right. Mind war effectiveness is a function of its skillful use of communication media. But no greater error could be made than to confuse mind war with merely a greater and more unprincipled propaganda effort. Propaganda, as defined by Harold Ainsworth, is the expression of opinions or actions carried out deliberately by individuals or groups with a view to influencing the opinions or actions of other individuals or groups for predetermined ends and through psychological manipulation. This is coming out of the book Behold a Pale Horse from William Cooper. That letting you know the expression of opinions or actions carried out deliberately by individuals or group with an influence to a predetermined end through psychological manipulations. Then up there keep saying, when he up there yelling, I'm gonna bring my black kids' asses to go vote. That's psychological manipulation. Black this, black that, blacks to go vote. All the psychological manipulation to a predetermined end. Like that's all. It's propaganda. That's why again, AT&T, Europeans are sponsoring this. This ain't well, we need our own seat at the table. Well, we want the whole table. But you still getting notes from the European that you can sit there and tell that story. How do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do that? That whole setup there, that they're sitting there, is only able to be functioned because of the people who they're going against, yelling up there, saying the total opposite, like showing the total opposite of what they're doing. Like, what do you mean? You guys are dissing the fact that you want your own this, your own that, self-sufficient, everything that, but your whole platform is everything's AT&T all around it. That's Europeans. That has nothing to do with y'all. All these celebrities up there, and they couldn't put their own nothing together and sponsor their own stuff. They still had to go get Master. That's propaganda. It's propaganda. They know that up there, after they leave and sit from there, the Revolt Summit, the guy's up there with a Carlton sweater tied around his neck. He's not revolting. He's up there. They're having cookouts. What are they doing? After that, they're going to go right back to doing nothing. Anytime that's why it's like a burden on Killer Mike. Every time you see him, the only thing people want to talk to him about is Bernie Sanders. Like that's what he's known for. I only know this guy. I only know me personally. I only know him through Bernie Sanders. I don't know that guy. I don't know what he does, what he did, or what. I just know him from Bernie Sanders. And I'm pretty sure it's plenty other people that the same thing. Like they don't know what he used to do or whatever. We just know him because he was up there with Bernie Sanders. These are their leaders, man. Up there playing these games. Propaganda. That's the propaganda. Psychological manipulation.
Congress is the illiteracy rates that are facing Black America. 75% of Black boys in California can't pass a reading exam. Across Baltimore, they looked at 5 schools. They couldn't find a single Black boy that was a single Black child that could pass a basic reading or a math exam. So I caught a lot of slack because I said this is a Democrat plantation, but I meant what I said. If you look historically at what the plantations were when we were slaves, there were 3 things that were necessary for them to run. The first was our ignorance. Black Americans were not allowed to learn how to read unless we would have our limbs chopped off. And that was because an educated mind cannot be enslaved. So the fact that our schools are in this condition in the inner cities and all throughout America and not a single candidate is talking about it is problematic to me. I think that that's a huge negotiating tool for me. We need to be talking about the inner city schools. Another component, and this is the biggest issue that I think is facing Black America today, which was important to maintaining the plantations, was the breakdown of family. The biggest issue facing Black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government.
That's being incentivized because you call yourself Black. Again, reference point. The nigger industry. Reference point. Articles 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 from the U.S. Christian Black Codes of 1724. Article 6. We forbid our white subjects of both sexes to marry with the blacks under penalty of being fined and subjected to some arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, or missionaries of our secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our Navy to sanction such marriages. We also forbid all our white subjects to, and even the manumitted or free-born blacks, to live in a state of concubinage with slaves. Should there be any issue of this kind of intercourse, it is our will that the person so offending and the master of the slave should pay each a fine of 3 livres. Should said issue be the result of concubinage of the master, his slave, said master, shall not only pay the fine, but be deprived of the slave and of the children, who shall be adjudged to the hospital of the locality. And said slave shall be forever incapable of being set free. But shall this illicit intercourse have existed between the free black and his slave, when the said slave, according to the forms prescribed by the church, said slave shall thereby be set free, and the children shall become free and legitimate, and in such case there shall be no application of the penalties mentioned in the present circle. Article 7. The ceremonies and forms prescribed by the ordinance of Blois and by the Edict of 1691 for marriage shall be observed both with regard to free persons and slaves. But the consent of the father and mother of the slave is not necessary. That of the master shall be the only one required. Article 8. We forbid all curates to process or to effect marriages between slaves without the proof of consent of their master, and we also forbid all masters to force their slaves into marriages against their will. Article 9. Children issued from the marriage of slaves shall follow the condition of their parents, and shall belong to the master of the wife and not of the husband, if the husband and wife have different masters. Article 10. If the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, it is our will that their children, of whatever sex they be, shall share the condition of their mother, and be as free as she, notwithstanding the servitude of their father. And if the father be free and the mother a slave, then the children shall be slaves. A logistical breakdown of the foregoing articles of the Christian Black Codes of 1724 will easily reveal the origins, motives, and nature of the policies and negative social political acts which the Union State Society, U.S. corporate statespersons use to regulate and administer social controls over the quote-unquote nigger families. The Christian Black Codes are also the color of law motivator and municipal ordinance guide used to maintain the Whigs Party class system for the North American Union State Society automation operations. Never be surprised to discover blatant contradiction and misrepresentation as a custom, tradition, and policy standard within the U.S. Democracy Corporation's government bodies or within their pseudo-government agencies. Always observe who and that the predominant administrators of the U.S. institutions and agencies are Europeans who by code bluntly refer to themselves as white people and refer to their artificial persons and bureaucratically subjected wards as black people. The U.S. democracy functions by the cherished European feudal system. This sets the course and the policies for their political and economic operations. So all the stuff they're complaining about Europeans doing, it's really because these people are black. It's not because the Europeans doing it. Europeans only doing it because these people are classifying themselves as black. Because the more just called in and told you that the more who's declared and proclaimed, he got let out the back door when he got kidnapped. He got let out the back door when he got kidnapped. The more got kidnapped, but got let out the back door.
Right.
And we have to beat our people in the head to convince them that they're not black. But, you know, the black guys are pushing this idea and nobody has any dispute except Moors. Nobody has a problem with it except Moors. Everybody's down with the black. Well, as soon as you say that you're black, you better go read the Christian black codes because that's what they're governing our people under, whether it's municipal, whether it's provincial, state, whether it's federal. As soon as you say black, they're going to go pull their code noir or pull their Christian black codes, and that's what they're using as law against you. And don't forget.
Yep, every time.
Don't forget, as we look on the stage, ain't no Europeans up there. It's your own telling you that you're under the jurisdiction of the Christian black codes because of them. Not because some European did that. Ain't no European forcing them to say that we're black because like you already saw, the Moors put up the video. These people know, yeah, we've been discussing that we're Moors and all that stuff, and nationality is the order of the day. We're not black people. Black's not a nationality. So why 24 minutes in, you still talking about black people? When these people know better. Islam more.
No, you nailed it right there, Banshee. But Banshee, I'm gonna have to lay a little Yusuf down. They already give me that look.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Yep.
Do them.
I'm gonna have to
Don't worry. We're gonna be doing a part 2 because we only got 24 minutes in and we got some more stuff to do. So we'll organize. We'll organize.
Yep.
Islam, boy. Tell the boys Islam.
Peace,
boy.
Yep, I will. Well.
Right now, via the welfare system. When the government says we'll give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children, you are advising bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it. This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family. When you remove...
Y'all. Hey, hold on. So, hold on, brother, hold on. There's going to be an opportunity for each of you to engage, but I want to make sure this sister has the right to talk while she's here. That's why we invited her. So let her say what she needs to say, and then let's keep it moving. Come on, y'all.
The single motherhood rate in the 1960s in Black America, and they thought that.
Now, I want to finish this. This is on your behalf. At a certain point, we can't be assholes.
at a certain point, these are black men and women, and in particular, these are black women. Like on some real G shit. It doesn't matter how you feel about her personally. Everything she has just said, Louis Farrakhan said for the last 25 fucking years. So with no, and I don't know if she's a fan of Farrakhan. I know me and Tamika are. Bam. But you cannot take the truth and be mad at who tells it to you. So just chill, bro. Shut the fuck up. Let her say it and receive the information. That's it.
That's it. Islam to all the Moors. We'll be back 26:15. Just remember the timestamp. We'll probably try to get in on Friday, because you already know tomorrow, Sons of Allah. I haven't talked to Miz yet, but we should be good for tomorrow night. Don't forget, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sons of Allah tomorrow. 9 p.m. MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Blog Talk Radio. 319-527-6751. 319-527-6751. 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Keep the truth alive. Keep studying. Keep putting this word out. Don't even worry about what these people are talking about. Keep studying and keep putting the word out that we are not Negro, Black, colored, or Ethiopian. We're also not Indian and none of that BS either. Peace and love to all the Moors in the chat. Peace and love to everybody, wherever you're at, with the most highest energy. We give much thanks to everybody for supporting. Don't forget, we're at the new channel because the American Indian guys snitched on the original channel. So make sure you subscribe here. Give thanks for the thumbs up. And of course, we'll close out with some music for y'all, just because all these hip hop guys on the panel. Let's give you at least one thing to feel good about being Moors. Islam Moors. Yeah. Ignorance is contagious. Yo, lift your head up, man. We walked into something. The scene, feathers and turbans, 1913, Moorish Jewish temples in Harlem before conscious stardom. UNIA parade, God, we dressed Moorish as ever, admirals or emirs, catch them in the ruin forever. Before Allah, temple of Islam, gods and earth's nations, knowledge of nationality, feed us from plantations, allegations, alterations, transfer ownership, proclamations. Feathers don't mean Moors, cause Congolese amputations, playing on emotions up when people asleep mentally. Still asleep, Jew Ali came over a century ago, although you weren't told, seek and find. Knowledge is water for thought seeds in the mind, soil conscience. If constant will exercise demons that haunted the vessel, attempted to get between your temples, go from a lot of man towards ever, delving to lower levels and actually love it. Lower self junkies acting like troglodyte monkeys, like puppets. Renaissance is unrelated to blacks, check the facts. The Moors are who kept ancestral knowledge intact, expressed in videos, books and raps. What you call a two winds, I had a call a liberty cap. Freedom is everyone's job, but most abandon their posts. Now their children are diagnosed with multiple distinctive hosts. Plus they given the order to administer dose, looking for salvation from all the not innermost, as souls crunch like cinnamon toast. The devil's still happy, and stay happy. The message to you ignorant folks: written on the pages is the ageless, wisdom of the sages. Ignorance is contagious. Written on the pages is the ageless, sages. Ignorance is contagious. Wisdom of the sages. Ignorance is contagious. Ignorance is contagious. Ignorance is contagious. When I listened to Fred Hampton, he wasn't like modern black men, white power for white people. Did he mean the Klansmen? Brown power for brown people. Did he mean the Brahmin? And I guess all the yellow power is for the Chinamen. I get it. Do you? I think not. Brahmin don't call themselves brown, and I don't see yellow anything when I'm in Chinatown. Treasures up quenching British thirst, honor our prophets that gave prophecies to the likes of Nostradamus. The Nostradamus debuted number 7 on Billboard. Bullets finger on the cover told us we're still Moors. Dougie Fresh, his brother, and Pop knew they're not niggas. Even Fruit Quan is a big, you know, from grave diggers. You made the same mistake the politicians have. Reaping what you sow, talking all that jazz, and still talking. All I see is zombies walking with their eyes low, with their minds in the screen like Max Headroom show. While you worry about FEMA, I keep my enemies closer, and one eye on dirty more than the conscious poser. One hand around the straw man's neck and lower self in a headlock. Vixen stabbed in a crotch, Sucunias get headshots. Jezebels and jack-o'-lanterns lead them astray because some taught me it's about kill cracker, never shoved one. Zombies taking the form of your deceased loved ones, leading you through end of tunnel lights into torture dungeons. Using honey traps against vigilance and some instruments. Propaganda say being more is tied to religiousness. When we are indigenous and bound to the continent, effort waits with your flattering manipulative compliments. I have my ancestral confidence from their accomplishments, ancestral confidence from their accomplishments. Return to my foreparents' mindset. Teach me competent, not incompetent. Man, I seen Taurus and Smart.